Selina, welcome to Rainbow Colored Toronto. We are very, very happy to have you here as the Grand Marshal to this incredible organization. And I don't know about you, but I can't wait for us to party it up and celebrate just the diversity that exists in the world and in our human race. Thank you for coming.
Pleasure's all mine.
You're here, of course, to lend your support and your voice and just the tremendous, work that you've done behind the LGBTQ community around the world. UN in 2013, of course, recognized you and your work as an ambassador. This is a cause that really does still need to be supported and recognized because equality, unfortunately, still just isn't there. Yes. Not amongst women, not amongst cultures, not amongst class, caste, definitely not amongst sexual preference.
A lot of people very close to me, and I've seen their agonies and ecstasies, and how me being in their life so close to them, how it affected me as a human being. And I could see their daily struggle and what they were going through. And it was not a pleasant thing to see, because when you see, we take for granted certain things in life, equality at work, at least some level of equality of work. Yes. You can walk into a police station if you're harassed on the streets as a woman. If somebody tries to rape you, somebody tries to blackmail you, we take these things, we take the law for granted, that the law is there to protect us. We take the love of our parents for granted because our parents love us unconditionally. But imagine when all that is taken away just because you decide to tell people who you are. Yeah, you decide to tell your loved ones who you are. Imagine if all that is taken away from you, your safety, your security, the very grassroots where you come from, your foundation. Imagine with all that is taken away from you. And if you're a person, and anyone who's watching me has seen this or experienced it themselves being LGBTQ, this is something which shakes the very being of you from inside. It breaks your spirit. Right. And when a spirit is broken, that is the end of a human being. People still continue to exist in a country like India as well, whereas section like Section 377 exists, yes, which criminalizes homosexuality. Yes. And it is not a law which has been made by people of Indian origin. It is a British law made during the colonial times by Lord Macaulay back in 1860. Right. Yeah. So this is these ridiculous laws still exist, and I believe the fact that laws are meant to protect people, not form a platform for fanatics to blackmail and harass human beings of their basic rights. Absolutely. And this is what is being done back home.
Absolutely.
So my journey began with seeing very up close and personal, and also experiencing some of that agony myself and ecstasy myself, and at the same time it just changed me as a human being. I could not just go on with blinders on my eyes. In my career was great. I became a Miss India, I became a Miss Universe runner-up, became an actress. I couldn't close my eyes and say, I'm going to leave this part of my life behind. I'm sorry, these are the people who helped me become what I am today.
Yes, absolutely.
And I just could not continue to live my life in blinders and go on. I had to do something. So I reached the platform where I could, the highest platform that I could reach. And then I decided, from here, I will begin this journey, which has long been pending.
Absolutely. Yes. And what's that journey been like for you? It's been a long journey, right? I mean, I'm reading things that date back to 10 years of supporting this cause and everything. And of course, I can hear the passion in your voice. There's, the personal story of the amount of people in your life, who are a part of the LGBTQ community, watching them suffer the way they have. Yes. And, and you're right about these laws. It's interesting how statistically, how many laws in every country were created so many centuries ago, and why is no one doing anything about ensuring that laws equate to the society's requirements in any given, space and time? So, you've been a huge advocate. Of course, you mentioned Section 377. The great thing about that, which is shocking for me, is that there wasn't enough outpour of support in India, considering there's a massive community that exists in India.
Yes.
And even when you go back to, you know, throughout our culture as Indians, right? All of this has never been a problem. You know, we've never talked about sexual orientation, etc., until the British Raj came about, as you mentioned, right?
Exactly.
But why, you know, we've got independence after, you know, so many years. Why is this still a part of who we are as an Indian society and culture today? Why are we not making the changes that suit our society? Why do you feel that is? Why is it such a big deal, in other words?
Well, you know, because change, you know, often begins with difficult conversations. And in India, we are not ready to have difficult conversations, especially conversations surrounding sexuality, gender identity are taboo. I mean, forget LGBTQI issues. Even us as women, I remember friends, because I studied in a Kendra Vidyalaya where children from all walks of life came to study. Yes. I was an army officer's daughter,
yes.
and I had from not such a fortunate level of society children coming to study, and I remember they were very uncomfortable to talk about the menstrual cycle, or they would not discuss it in front of the parent, or so anything to do with sexuality or the human body disturbs our community.
Yeah.
And it could be people are just not ready to educate themselves about anything. Nobody talks about sexual health or education anymore, when we have the largest population, for God's sake, in the world. Obviously there's a lot of sex going on there.
Absolutely.
You know, nobody wants to talk about it.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it, but nobody wants to talk about it.
Absolutely.
So there's this two-faced situation in our country, and these are important conversations which need to be had. For change, these difficult conversations need to be had.
Absolutely.
How else are we going to communicate to people, educate people, remove the misconceptions and stereotypes attached to the LGBTQI community?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why, you know, in your experience so far, what has been the reoccurring, most challenging point of view that you've faced from the people that are, you know, against,
yes,
you know, the equalization of the human race?
They always use religion as an excuse, or that it's a Western concept. They believe that being gay or homosexual is a Western concept. It is against our culture, where there is enough evidence in temples which exist for thousands of years of homosexuality.
Literature is
the
Kama Sutra.
The Kama Sutra is there.
Absolutely.
So we've just reached a point where we are, you know, people are have just gone blind. You know, they got the frog in the well mentality.
Right.
They refuse to come out of the well to explore what is in this world, what is a reality. You know, homosexuality is a human trait. It is an inherent trait. Yeah, it has always existed right since the beginning of time. This is nothing new.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you know, I always find it really interesting, because I'm definitely not someone that follows religion or politics. I'm not that person. I don't believe. I believe that these types of things have been created. Rules and regulations have been created to stop us from, you know, understanding why we're here as humans, that spiritual journey that we're all on, right? And, you know, I'm definitely somebody that believes that as soon as you start putting rules and regulations in place, you start to stop people's basic rights to live the way they want to. And I think that's the core thing that I find with, you know, religion, with politics, with these laws, and just the way culture decides how everyone needs to live. And I never really understand how it's possible for people to all fit into the same box. This box that society feels in religion, in you know, politics, in our sexuality, that we're all meant to be the same human being. Because that's not what spirituality teaches you. And spirituality is the core and foundation of the human race. It's the core and foundation of the Indian subcontinent.
Yes.
So it's almost like, I personally, being someone that was born and brought up outside of India, I don't understand what will actually really happen if you do support each other. How do you feel about that?
You know, in a country like India with various levels of education, and in certain levels no education at all, There are many self-proclaimed gurus and babas and yogis who interpret religion in their own way and preach it to people.
Right.
With the light of education not being in the darkness of ignorance,
yes,
it is very easy to mislead people.
Yes.
And that is what happens in a big country like India.
Absolutely.
You know, with people from various backgrounds and various educational backgrounds and economic levels. So that is what happens in our country.
So don't you think it's bigger? Don't you think it's bigger than a fight for sexual equality or sexual discussion? It's in the very fabric and layer of every institution that we've created as humans.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. It's much bigger than that, because it is not about gay rights. It is about basic human rights.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. How can people, you know, support this? You know, how can people go out there and say, you know, these are different ways that we can create awareness, that we can participate in trying to just make people at least have the dialogue, which seems to be the single biggest problem here is having the dialogue. Because once you have dialogue, everything just starts to flow.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. Well, my suggestion would be this, you know, the biggest change in life that you can do, you know, Gandhiji once said, I mean, Mahatma Gandhi once said, it takes a small number of determined spirits with an unquenchable fire and faith in their mission to change the course of history. You know?
Oh man.
So that's what it is. That's what people need to do.
Yes.
You know, people need to start making, you know, begin at home, begin in your school, begin in your own family, begin amongst your own friends. Give people from the LGBT community, if you have anyone around you, begin with them.
Right.
Give them the nurturing support. Give them a great environment to flourish as a human being. Don't mock them. Because, you know, if we just look at each other from human being to human being, yeah, we accept each other's being different. Or I may be very eccentric. For example, my friends accept that. Yeah. The moment if I say that I am from the LGBTQ community, their attitude should not change. Yeah, accept them for who they are, support them, stand by them, give them an environment to grow, to reach their maximum potential as a human being, to become the good contributors of the world which they are meant to be, instead of just smothering them right at the grassroots level and not allowing them to grow. So you can do that. I want to use your show to urge to parents to support their children.
Yes.
Yeah, to stand up for their children. It is the same child that you gave birth to.
Right.
That child was in your stomach for 9 months. You gave birth to that child. You have to support your child and nurture them, because sexuality or the choice of whom you love does not diminish your capability as a human being or as a parent or as a son or as a daughter. So encourage them to grow, because if the foundation is strong, nothing can stop them from becoming the best in their field or in whatever they set out to achieve in this world.
Absolutely, yes. And that's why you're here, to help us, you know, remember why we are all here on earth together, and that is to just celebrate life and to nurture and grow everything that it is that's wonderful about this world. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Selena, you are such a pleasure. Your passion and your commitment to this incredible you know, community, everyone is so blessed to have you a part of it. I'm really, really pleased to hear everything that you had to say.
Thanks.
We are definitely going to you know, watch your journey. We're here to support. Thank you so much for your time.